Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Faye Mac and I post videos about life in Canada as a Nigerian Canadian and how to relocate to Canada. Thank you for joining my live. You guys, I know it's been a long time. It's been like 11 months since my last live. But thanks for joining. I hope you guys are getting my notifications. I have gotten a bunch of people say that, they're not getting notifications for my videos or my posts. But listen, it's going to take some time because I just returned back to YouTube after over a year long break. So yeah, bear with me. But yeah, in today's video, we're going to be discussing how relocation can affect marriages. And this is not a conversation that I'll be having on my own. You guys know, if you're on my Instagram, I just celebrated my 4th wedding anniversary. But this video has been in the works for over a year. We just never really got the chance to do the live stream, but here we are today. I'm still a baby in marriage, so I've brought people that are the agbalagbas of marriage. They've been in this for a while. They have that experience of being married in Nigeria versus being married abroad, so they're able to do that comparison and bring you all the tea, all the juice, all the tips that you need to be able to have a successful marriage abroad, even with relocation. So I'm going to add them to the live now. Let me go ahead. Yeah, these are my superstars. Hello. Hi, welcome. You guys, thank you so much for joining the live. I know it's been a long time since I did a live, but thank you for gracing us with your presence. We're going to start with introductions. Tools, like I usually call you. Lagos, Canada mom. You guys go follow her on Instagram. I'll let her introduce herself and plug in all her, different ventures so that you can reach out to her.
Okay. Hi, everybody. My name is Tolu. And what do you need to know? I'm married. I have 2 children. Do you want to know how long I've been married for?
Yes.
I'll tell you. Okay. So we celebrated our 16th wedding anniversary on December 9th. And we have 2 children. They are 11 and 10. What else? I've been in Canada for 4.5 years, so almost 5 years. And I'm an entrepreneur, I'm an educator, I'm a teacher. I currently work for the government. And what else?
No, that's good. What province are you based out of?
I'm in Ontario. I live in the GTA.
Yes, so those are GTA folks, Toronto folks. So yeah, thank you, welcome. And you guys already know why I brought tools on here. 16 years of marriage is no joke. 4.5 of which have been in Canada. So again, that juxtaposition that I was talking about, being able to compare, before and after relocation. So moving on to the next panelists, Yemzi, how far? Please introduce yourself.
Morning. My name is Yemi. I've been married for about 9 years. I have 2 kids, too, a boy and a girl. One is 6 and one is 3 months. I work in the financial services industry. I've been in Canada for about 3 years, and I'm based out of Edmonton, Alberta.
Awesome. What's the weather like there? I like to see how better people.
It's bright out there today, actually. Let's just put it that way. Bright out there today.
Okay, good. Our weather in Ontario has not been the best this past 2 days, but yeah, it's all good. Okay. Someone said tools volume is a little low, but we can hear. So we'll just increase the tempo a little bit. Okay, Caleb, hi. Introduce yourself.
Hello, my name is Caleb. I live in Ontario, just outside of the GTA. I've been married for 6 years. I guess I'm the youngest married man. I'm a fairly used married man. I'm not so used. I'm just fairly used. And before I got married, I dated my wife for 9 years.
Wow.
Yeah, so I've known her for about 15 years.
Wow.
An interesting thing about her, I met her on social media. So
Mm.
Okay.
okay.
Wow.
So back before social media was social media, so I met her through a magazine, a newspaper magazine. Anyway, yeah. So I work in tech. I have two kids. So that's it about me. I've been in Canada for just 3 years next month. Yeah. Thank you.
Nice, nice. Okay, I'm going to do a brief introduction of myself as well, just in case there are some people that are new, because I can see there's some people from Twitter that just joined today. Okay, so my name is Faye Mack. Like I said before, I'm Nigerian Canadian. I moved to Canada in 2015, so that was a little over 7 years ago as an international student, and now I'm Canadian, and I've been married for 4 years now. I just celebrated my fourth wedding anniversary 2 days ago. But this topic has nothing to do with that. The timing is just a coincidence. Tools knows that we've been planning this for quite a while. We just never really got the chance. But what really triggered me to, get this thing going and get it together was a video that trended recently on Instagram, where a reverend had, I guess, had some advice regarding relocating abroad, whether Canada, US, UK, whatever. And, she had alluded to the fact that you need to be prepared for culture shock and really determine if your marriage can actually stand relocation. And I look through the comments and I'm seeing a lot of people just, upset about the advice or even the talk. But one thing I like to say is sometimes not everybody that is in diaspora that is giving advice means bad for you. Like sometimes we just experience things and realize we always say information is power, information is power. I always tell you this. So why are you upset when somebody is giving you information? But anyway, let's get into it. First, I'll start with tools. What would you say are some of the challenges that a married couple could face just based on relocation?
Okay. The first thing I might say is there's a fight for your time. Like it's just super busy here. So your time it's almost like everything is back to back for you. And if you had a lot of support back home, that's my son that I pushed away. He still came to fight me.
Things we love to see.
So, yeah, I was saying one of it, a big challenge is the fight for your time. Like there are just so many things calling your attention. So if, for instance, back home you had a lot of attention, I said attention, a lot of support. So let's say you had a nanny, some people had chefs, some people had like home assistants. You had a lot of support, and then you had family support. Then you unplugged yourself from all of that support. So that is something huge. Your maybe one of your, I'm not going to say number one or number two or whatever, but maybe one of your biggest challenges is how to thrive without support. Like you've actually taken away all the support system that you had, and then you have to now try to build a new one, or you now have to try to deal with it without your support. Second, culture shock. A lot of people back home had like strict gender roles. Husband does this, wife does this. In fact, there's something that I would address that I would say. A lot of women have this mentality of my money is my money, his money is our money. So basically, we have like a breadwinner, and then I can support sometimes, put it in the trash. It doesn't work here because it's going to be really unfair, especially if you're making income and then you say your husband takes all of the responsibility. So that's another challenge. Having to pull your resources and knowing that it's our family money, it's not my money, it's not his money. That's one other thing that I feel like people need to deal with. Third thing is, or maybe the most important thing, is actually finding that us time, that couple time in the midst of everything that you're dealing with. You know, the kids are calling your attention. Um, they need you, right? Like they really, really do need you, because if, especially if you have younger children, they can't care for themselves, and you can't just say, oh, so whoever your nanny is, take the kids for now. We are going to just have some time together. No, you can't. So you now have to like really fight for that us time, or make that time. So those are some of the challenges that I know. There are a lot more. I can mention, like I can talk about this topic the whole day. So I'm just going to keep quiet so that I'm not the only one talking.
Yes, thank you, Tools. You've brought up some really important points that we're still going to dig into a little bit, but we're going to move on to Yemzi for now. What are some of the points that maybe Tools hasn't mentioned, or some that she has mentioned that you think you want to reiterate?
I think I would have just said, let's all go home now. She said everything. But I think what I want to echo from what she said is the support system. It can be really difficult. Actually, I mean, most times it's professionals who migrate from Nigeria back here to back home to here to Canada, and oftentimes most of us had all sort of support systems. Our parents, paid workers, drivers, cleaners, everything. Like all we needed to do, like as men then, was provide, put that money there and pay people to get things done. Here, it's a totally different ball game. You have to be deeply involved, and of course, while it comes with its disadvantages, it also comes with its advantages. I'm sure we'll talk about this afterwards, because until we moved here, I was barely in the house back home in Nigeria. I leave for office 5 a.m. and back at 9 p.m. Sometimes even later. You get, but here you spend more time with family, which is, I feel, is an advantage. However, still speaking on those issues, the support system for me is probably the biggest challenge, and you find that people sometimes want to bring in their parents to help, you get, and things like that.
Yeah, I completely agree. And we're definitely going to dig into that as well. But let's hear from Caleb.
Hello. Yeah. So for me, like Two said, first is everyone is struggling for your time, whether it's office work or whether it's time for the kids and all that. So our case is peculiar. The month we landed in Canada, a few weeks after, there was the COVID lockdown. And it was interesting because a lot of marriages were failing because people who had had to live apart from each other because of work were now forced to cohabit, to actually live together. And back home, maybe the time you will spend together is just 6, 7 hours, but now you are forced to 24 hours see your wife, see your partner, and that was a big challenge. So if you are one that is always easily irritated by your partner, or you are a perfectionist, you like to see her do things this way, that way, you have to overlook it. You have to overlook some of those your perfectionistic tendencies. So another point which Jens also spoke about is the support system. So back in Nigeria, you can tell your neighbor, oh, please, can you quickly help me look after my kids? I'll be back in 1 hour. Yeah, you don't. I've not been into the living room of any of my neighbors. I don't. Apart from the usual hi, you don't even see them. Like you can't just go knock on their doors and get in. And then there is another aspect to the support system. Back in Nigeria, if you had any issues with your partner, you can just call an auntie, call an uncle, and say, "Please, can you help me talk to this stupid man? He needs to have some sense spoken into his head. Can you help me talk to this stubborn woman?" But here in Canada, you are all for yourself. You are all by yourself. The closest friend may be living 20 minutes away, maybe living 30 minutes away. You may not see them in weeks. So if there's any issue between you and your partner, you both of you have to get some sense and speak it out and communicate and resolve it, because the closest parent you have is almost 20 hours away, and several phone calls away. So if you can't find a way to speak to your partner and come to a middle ground, then you can easily break up. That marriage can easily crash. So now it's just the two of you, just two adults. You have to make it work. I'll keep it short. We still have a long way. Yeah.
Right. Thank you. Thank you so much. So let's talk about the fact that some people see relocation as starting afresh, which it can be for some in certain aspects of their lives. But what do you say to people who think that, yes, right now I have challenges in my marriage, but we're relocating to Canada soon. It's going to be better. Things will change. All these issues will stop. Have you seen that mentality is actually a thing? And what do you have to say about that? Tools, you want to? Yeah.
Okay, so a favorite pastor that I follow said one time that the fact that if you are a lizard in Nigeria, you're not going to move abroad and become an alligator. You're who you are. So if you're not friends with your spouse, if you're not actively building that friendship or communication, the fact that you moved abroad is not going to make it better. In fact, it's probably going to make it worse, because you now have all these other challenges that we're talking about to deal with. Now you don't have any auntie or uncle to call, which is why couples need to receive sense and know that bringing a third party to come and resolve your issues all the time is not going to work. That's not how it's supposed to be. Yes, there might be some issues that eventually you might need help with, but every little thing, mommy, you won't believe it. He didn't brush his teeth this morning. Mommy, you won't believe it. He didn't make the bed. Grow up. That's why you got married. So like resistance. So the fact that you move from one location to the other doesn't sweep your issues under the carpet. Start to deal with them once you find them wherever you are. Don't think that, it's just all now going to become dandy and rosy, unless you thought that your main problem was maybe your in-laws or whatever. But even then, deal with it. There's always drama. There's drama everywhere. Maybe it's in-laws over there. Maybe it will be friends when you relocate. So I don't really buy that. I don't really buy that mentality. Like, he might give you a clean bill, like
clean slate.
It might give you a clean slate. Maybe it was external influence that was a big issue in your relationship. But honestly, I don't think so.
Even external influences such as side chicks and side
it exists everywhere. You're going to find that everywhere.
Yeah, you get the whole website. Like, you go on the website, you get sugar babies, you get all those things.
But hey,
it's not going to change unless you're living a fool's paradise.
I like that you actually raised that, and that's where I was going to say I would disagree a little bit with her, what she just said now, because people are hopeful, and most times people with problems always feel a solution would always come. I would use your example now, side chicks. Let's use an hypothetical scenario where one of the partners is cheating. Men oftentimes are the guilty party. I would admit that. And we say the guy is cheating consistently in Nigeria. It is easy for him. He's able to pay for hotels. He's able to sort pregnancy, unwanted pregnancies, pay for abortions and things like that. And he has all the resources working for him back home in Nigeria. No consequences. Nobody's coming to harass him to say, hey, we are now common law partners because we are together, anything like that. When they move, it's advantage for the woman. One, because Shino is very expensive here. we say these things all the time. You cannot afford Shino because most of your income is going to bills.
I don't agree.
No. Let me say you cannot afford. No, let me not say you cannot afford. You can afford Shino, but it is very expensive. When I say you cannot afford it, it is not the luxury you find back home in Nigeria.
It's a luxury here.
Proper luxury here. Like, you get, it is not your common day every day. Oh, okay, I'm going to work. After work, you branch to somewhere. Okay, in the name of, we have an office event. There are no office events here that's going to keep you oftentimes. That's one. Two, there are consequences. If your partner, boy or girl, decides to report you to the authorities to say, hey, this guy is doing XYZ, you are definitely in trouble. You get in trouble outside, you get in trouble in the house. Your partner kicks you out of the house, male or female, whoever it is that kicks you out of the house because
Yeah.
they ask for a divorce. I mean, the consequences are so much. So it keeps you thinking and keeps you at check sometimes to say, hey, is it really worth it to get these things done? The kind of things that people got away back home, you're not going to get away with it here.
Fair
So
point.
maybe it would, and again, I would always say dynamics always differ from home to home to home to home. So not one person's scenario is not going to fit into everybody's scenario. So for
Yeah.
that reason, whoever has hope that, oh, okay, I'm going to have a breath of fresh air when I move to wherever country, Canada or wherever it is, all the best to them. Most
Yeah.
important thing you should do for them is encourage them to say, hey, whatever works for you, however it is you guys can have that fresh start, go ahead and give it a try. Don't say, oh, okay, I don't think this guy is going to change for that reason. I'm not going on. Let him go alone or let her go alone.
No.
That's another thing we always find too. Like, you guys go, I'll be here and hustle.
Can I quickly chip in something and
Yeah,
say,
sure.
Yes, please.
I think it's more like if the hope is on the parts of both of the like if it's both parties that have that hope, then yes. But if it's one person thinking that, oh, because we're leaving, things are going to change. Yeah, you can nurse that hope, but it takes two to make it work, right? So if the woman is the one that has all the hope, it's probably going. It just might take a few months before they get a divorce. So
Yeah,
maybe
let me add to that. Let me add to that. Actually, yeah, it's going to get worse. If you had a shaky, no, that's just being factual. If you had a shaky foundation back in Nigeria, it's not going to get better. The woman will have more powers now. She can call the cops. She can throw you out, and it also comes to begging the wives. Before I left Nigeria, I think I spoke to my wife. I sort of jokingly begged that, like, please don't treat my fuck up in Canada. Like a lot
well,
of
good thing
things.
you knew that there was something.
Yeah. Honestly, I knew I had things to work on, and as a woman, if you come to Canada with a retaliatory spirit, you have your way. You succeed in throwing him out, you succeed in caging him, but that's a wrong mindset. You don't come to Canada as a woman to pay him back, to pay your husband back. Okay, he has had his time, he has had all the wild times, he has left me alone to take care of the kids in Nigeria. In Canada, I will show him. Don't come here to show him. Oh. You win the battle, you win the battle, but you lose the war. Because when you succeed in throwing your husband out of the house, who will train the kids? The kids will turn out to be sorry to use the word, useless people. So as a
Please,
woman,
please, I want to talk. Please, please.
as a woman, let me just wrap it up. Let me wrap it up. As a woman, don't come here to treat your husband's fuck up, right? Don't come here to retaliate for all the things he did back to you in Nigeria. Come here, both of you come here with a clean slate, right? And as a guy, as a man, come here with the mindset to do better, to right all the wrongs, whatever your shortcomings were in Nigeria. Just try and do better in Canada. But let me keep it at that.
Okay, I'll let tools go before I talk.
Okay, so here is my 2 cents about that. Now, I hear you, and I like that you kind of balanced this and said, okay, if you were doing wrong too, right your wrong. But honestly, when you say it's better for two parents to raise a kid, I am an advocate of the family being together, not splitting. Like I said, I've been married for 16 years. I've known my husband for 21 years or 22 years, right? So I've known him the whole of my adult life, and I'm for families being together. But honestly, in some cases, even if they both decided to make it work here in Canada, if it's not working and you've sought help and it's not working, sometimes it is better for the children and for everybody's sanity to give it a break. Right? So I am not going to say, oh, don't treat his mess now. Okay, yes, if you come with a retaliatory mentality, that's not good. But if you're putting in all the work, okay, so let me give an example. The kids wake up in the morning, mom and dad are arguing in the morning, in the afternoon, it's not working, in the evening, it's not working. It's not better for the kids. It's not better for nobody at that point, right? Again, nobody should quote me wrong. Nobody should quote me wrong. I'm not saying families should split or break up. I am just saying that there are always two sides to a coin and there is no one size fits all. Or let's say there's emotional abuse or there's physical abuse. I'm not going to tell them to stay together, especially if they've sought help, like I said, and it's not working. It might be actually easier for them to, even if it's a separation for a while until both of them again receive sense, like I said before, right? Like, okay, we're actually going to make this thing work, and how are we going to make it work? Some people need therapists while they are separated to be able to come back together. So yes, not a retaliatory mentality, but I'm not going to say that it's not in all cases that being together is helpful. If somebody is slapping somebody in the morning and then insulting them in the evening, please let them just give themselves a break.
Yes, and me, I'm just here to moderate, so I'm not taking sides, right? But I agree with what Tools just said, because that, see, you guys, we know these stories though. Like, we know these stories where, okay, fine, there are people that feel like, don't bring your wife abroad. That's what they say now on the. That's what's trending on the internet too. Don't bring a Nigerian woman abroad. First of all, what do you mean bring a Nigerian woman abroad? Sometimes
or house help or whatever. What does that mean?
And sometimes it's even the Nigerian woman that is bringing the Nigerian man abroad.
Amen to that.
Like, so at the end of the day, it's like, okay, don't bring a Nigerian woman abroad because of stories that they've heard. One-sided stories in a lot of situations. I find that some of these bringing wife abroad thing, I feel like some single men that live abroad are scared to marry women that are based in the country they're based in because they know that those women know their rights.
I think this is
wait, let me finish, MZ. So they know that those women know their rights, so they'll rather go to a village somewhere to pick somebody that they know that, that they think
they can control,
or that they can have that very traditional African gender roles with. So sometimes when you've shown your wife shege in Nigeria, she's like, okay, we're going abroad, no problem. She will behave and come abroad, and then she will learn what her rights are. Like, sometimes when you come in as a new immigrant, they're reaching out to you. Some of these agencies are reaching out to you, telling you if you're experiencing any form of abuse, emotional, physical, whatever, this is the number to call. This is what to do. Like, they're teaching you even without you approaching them. So in that kind of situation, will I say she came with a retaliatory mindset? I'm sorry, but if you've been abused, is it really retaliation, or is it just like getting yourself out of an abusive situation?
Abuse is that one place where I say, speak up, do whatever you need to get help, right? Like, it is important. Like, it's very important for your mental health, for your children's mental health. It is absolutely important. Physical abuse, emotional abuse, any kind of abuse, please get out or speak up at least, or get help. That is
yes.
Like, so I'm not going to say that is retaliation, but if, for instance, let's say the guy had all the financial power in Nigeria and the woman was not earning, maybe not earning a good income, or even a stay-at-home mom, and the guy always lorded it over her, and maybe the guy provided everything. I've seen situations where a man said, you're not going to work, you're a stay-at-home mom, I'm going to provide everything. And he's providing, but he's making her life miserable because he's providing. If that woman then gets to Canada with the man and learns her rights and knows that, okay, this is not right, I shouldn't be treated this way because you're providing, because we had an agreement that I should be a stay-at-home mom, not because I'm not educated, not because I can't get out there and get a job, not because I'm not even smart, but because we had a family agreement. And then you're treating me like crap because you bring the money. And then that woman gets here and decides to speak up. Excuse me, please, I'm all for her speaking up because mental health issues are real. There are people who are married who are sad all of the time. The purpose of marriage is for you to have something that to have a union that makes your life better, right? To make you nobody can give you joy, nobody can give you happiness, but it's for two people, two imperfect people to come together and be able to make things work, and companionship. But if that companionship is making you sad 24/7, how is that even helping anybody?
It's not.
So, and if they now come here, maybe the guy was making all the money, and then they come here and the guy wants to continue like that, it ain't gonna work.
The
woman
true to your point, it's coming to Canada, come with an open mind, come with a clean slate, saying, okay, both of us will do better. The problem is when the other party continues that wrongdoing, right? So and it's not just about so there are several ways you can be unfair to your wife, right? You deprive her of money, you deprive her of time. Yeah, you let her do all the babysitting every time. Even that is cheating, right? If you have someone that needs her time also, it's not the best use of your time. It's not being fair to your wife or your partner to always be on the road every time. Every time you have a reason to leave the house, every time you have a reason to, I'm stepping out. Even that is being unfair, right? When we first landed, I used to spend all the nights studying and all that. But at some point, when my wife had exams, I had to step that down. I had to stop it so she could have the night to study while I stay with the kids. So in all, it's just being fair. Like, have I been taking all the time? Have I been unavailable? Have I been depriving this person of whatever they need? And try to balance things. And all this is communication, right? Asking your partner, am I fair? Is there something I need to do better? Is there something I've been doing for some time now that is killing you internally that you want me to do better on? So having that conversation every time, asking your partner, have I been fair for a long time? Is that something you need me to improve upon? So yeah, I think those conversations need to be frequent. So it's just like having frequent performance evaluations with your manager. You don't wait till appraisal time before asking your manager, how have I been performing?
How am I doing on my job?
If not, you get surprises at appraisal time, right? So
spoken like a professional.
And to be honest, I can appreciate this balance that you're talking about, Caleb, because this is balance. Like, and to me, that's what 50-50 is about. Not equally splitting bills or equally doing this and that. I personally don't have time to be sitting down and pressing calculator about splitting bills. And it's just, do the parties involved feel like they are pulling their weight as they should? Does the other party feel like you are pulling your weight? And do you feel like the other party is pulling? Do you feel cheated in your marriage? Do you feel like you're working but also doing all the domestic chores while the other person is only working and still just providing as per gender roles, right? So that's another conversation that I want to bring on. But before we move on, I don't know if YMZ has something to say about the initial discussion before we move on to gender roles.
Let's move on to gender roles.
Okay. So somebody asked me a question, and this was supposed to go in my Q&A video, but I said, I don't know how to explain this in, as part of the other questions. And so I'm like, okay, let me just bring it up here. They asked me, Feyi, how do you perform your wifely duties? And not in that manner that I think of, but like, I think what they were trying to say is, how do you still perform all these duties that are expected of you as an African woman, as a Nigerian woman, as a Nigerian wife? Another question that came up was, how do you get your husband to do domestic chores? And this is a constant question. So, thoughts?
How do you get your husband to do chores? Maybe I should keep quiet and let the men talk. Like,
Yeah, let's have them start it.
Actually, had a very sarcastic response to that. I'll let his mom teach him. I think this is actually one of those areas that touch on what Caleb had mentioned earlier regarding balance and sharing responsibilities and being there for each other. The typical traditional Nigerian home where roles have been split into man provide, the woman takes care of the home and all those things. It had always been different for me. I grew up in a house with 5 boys, and our last girl was the only girl. So at each point in time, you are the one cooking in the house, you are the one doing the cleaning, you are the one doing everything as a boy. Of course, we had house helps and all those things too at different points in time, but our parents ensured that we got these things done. So for me, it's always been, what's there? Go and clear the sink. I don't have that problem. Right. But of course, there are times you're also tired that you leave it 2-3 days, you expect the other person to pick it up and get it done. But what I want to say is it's a mindset thing. There's nobody that has been wired to just sit there and expect the other person to get things done. It's out, whether it is male, female, I think it is laziness on that person's part. Right. And it's not typically we hear a whole lot of times that it is men who have this mentality. Sometimes I argue it and say, no, I've seen women too who think, oh, okay, it is men who should do everything in the house. Theirs is probably just to bath the baby and get things done. But in a setting where you don't have a support system, you need to find that balance. You guys need to help each other. Like, always see that the other person is struggling when that time comes. For instance, all the time I noticed, I think my wife had done a whole lot, like from like 7 p.m. she was still standing till like about 9 p.m. At that point, I just stopped doing what I was doing. I was playing game. I just stopped like, okay, what do you need help with here? Okay, drop these things. Let me help you wash them and things like that. It's you also just saying that okay, this person probably needs help without being told. Of course, women sometimes would expect that. Men most times, though, you tell me what you need me to do, right, and I'll get it done. But women expect you like, oh, okay, you have that magic wand in your brain to say that, okay, can't you see that I need help? But again, you need to just always find that balance and say, we need to help each other. We need to be there for each other. We need to take up certain roles that most times I don't think there's anything like gender specific rules. That's it's totally different from what the society thinks, right? And again,
good points, Yemi. So let me just like you, I don't have that problem of getting into the kitchen to in fact, I love to wash plates because no, let me tell you why. When I'm doing the dishes is when I can think.
You
right?
find it therapeutic.
Thank you. Apart from being therapeutic, I'm a tech person, right? So there may be one particular code I've been trying to write for a long time, and when I'm washing plates, my passive mind is just going into that problem and solving the problem. So that's for me the way. So I actually love washing plates, doing the dishes, right? So there is another point. There are no gender specific roles. My wife can cook anything. Like I can't even try. I can't even learn it, right? And there's something interesting again. My wife does DIY. She can assemble a piece of furniture. We go to the store to buy a bed. She does it. But me, my life has always been in front of the computer. So I'm very terrible at DIY. So it's interesting because those things, I just don't like to do it. So if my wife does DIY, if she loves to cook, I find another part which I can do to compensate what she does. I make money. I make more money than she does. Like, there is no comparison. I make more money. So when I try to weigh all what she has been doing, I try to compensate her in a different way. There is no point struggling. There's no point struggling for something you are not cut out for. I'm not cut out DIY at least, except I go to school and learn it. I am not cut out for they laugh now. I'm not cut out for cooking. I need to go to school and learn it. But the ones I can easily do, I compensate her for that, right? So I can say, I may see that, okay, you have been working so hard all these days. Let me buy you a car. You have been working so hard. Let me send 500K to your parents. You have been working so hard. This weekend, let me babysit and take care of the kids. Just go and take care of yourself, right? So in those areas where you see you have a deficiency, you don't know how to do it, you can learn it, but it will take you a long time. Find another aspect to compensate her for what she has been doing. There is no point struggling for something you are not cut out for, right? So yeah, let's move on.
Me, I don't agree with that too.
Well, I have to say something.
Okay. Okay.
So, and it's good to hear like the men's side point of view. And I'll go back to your original question, which is how do you make your spouse do this? You can't make anybody do anything. Let's start with that. It has to be internal. It has to come from within them. Mm-hmm. If they don't want to do it, they're not going to do it, right? Mm-hmm. Now, I don't agree that there are gender-specific rules, but I also agree that there are some things that some people might do better than others. So there are homes where the men are cooking better than the women, and there's nothing absolutely wrong with that. There are some things that maybe come more naturally to a specific gender than the other. For instance, women are naturally more nurturing. Most women, I'm not going to say all women, but most women are naturally more nurturing. So when it comes to like caring for the kids and things like that, some might come more natural. Like, okay, so let me give an example. You just had a baby. Most times, it's the woman who hears the cry of the baby first. Most times. And that's just nature. It's not because anybody assigned that role to the woman. It's just nature. Now, so saying that, it's two people agreeing or saying that we're partners, we're friends. This person is not my enemy. This person, we're not in a competition or we're not in a war. How are we going to both make it work? And what is working for A might not be working for B. It's having that open, honest conversation between yourselves. If I need help and I say, I need help, you need to be willing to bring that help. Maybe it's not even you helping me. So for instance, we both have kids and it's time to care for those kids. You're not helping me by caring for your kids. You're just being a decent, responsible human being. Because we both agreed to bring those children into the world, right? So it's not my job, just my job to say, we need to take care of the kids. Your baby is crying. Oh, hell no. It's our baby. Because we both agreed to bring that baby into the world. Now, maybe due to our circumstances, one person might be taking care of the baby 80% of the time because we know why, right? And it might be, but assuming that because the person is available 80% of the time and it's their job, it's not right. That's not the mentality that we need to have. It's that we're partners and whatever we need to do, however we need to support ourselves, we're going to do it and we're going to make this thing work. So
yeah. Let me answer Andre. Andre has been posting some questions. So compensate, to my mind, compensate is a good word, because if your wife, out of 24 hours, if she takes 18 hours taking care of the kids and taking care of the home, she won't have time to do her professional exams, to study and all that. Meanwhile, you are writing exams, you are changing jobs, you are getting promoted because you have saved a lot of time by facing your own work. So you need to compensate her for all that extra work. So to my mind, it's compensation. He also asked why is everyone using partners? So in Canada, we don't discriminate. So
exactly.
If you man and a woman,
the wife can be.
Yes, please. Don't put us in trouble, please.
I I saw that question actually. You
Maybe
can
we
say
should get
spouse
into
or
that
partner.
one.
It's absolutely fine.
It's just
Yeah, you can say spouse. I mean, if you're
spouse or
married, but some
partner.
people are common law partners. Some people are living together, cohabiting without being married, and all of that. So it's just a
But they are
broader term.
recognized in the eyes of the law. So long as you've lived together 90 days, I think, and if
Yeah.
you have a kid together, you're common law partners, whatever. So
Yeah.
and that's
So,
just how
so
it
it
is.
doesn't always have to be my wife.
Let's just
Some
leave
people
it.
live
That's
for
just
2 years and not get married. So
That's
partner
just how
Yeah.
It can be.
Yes.
I don't know if we finished that discussion about making your spouse do something or how you fit into your role as a woman. So it depends on how your family is. I've never really, my husband and I have never really been like the traditional type. And shout out to Mr. A, is always been amazing. Like from when we even when we got married and when we had our babies, we had our first child in the 50th year of our marriage, so we were ready, right? And we kind of had a schedule. Our first baby was in a routine, and every 3 hours. And initially, we had this schedule where when somebody wakes up the first time, the next feeding time, the next person wakes up. Or even sometimes you're like, you're tired, you go to bed, I'll take it, I'll take this up, I'll take this, right? It's knowing, having each other's backs, really. That's what makes a marriage work. You know,
Yeah.
all this is it's your job, it's not your job. Look, if you love somebody, you're not going to watch them decline. You're not going to watch them do everything and run themselves to the ground. It also applies to maybe women who think that their husbands are the one that need to provide everything. The guy is working 2, 3 jobs and they're lazy. All they want to do is spend the money. It is wrong. You should have the best interest of your spouse at heart. And if you have the best interest of your spouse at heart, this is somebody you vow to love forever, right? This is somebody you said, oh, I'm going to take care of you. We're going to take care of each other. Hopefully that's why you got married. And if you got married for that reason, you're not going to be watching the person sweating morning, afternoon, night, and not pulling your weight. So look, whether you're a guy or you're female, I don't understand all these gender roles and this is what the woman should do. Yes, again, like I said earlier, some things come on naturally to some others, some people than others. In our families, a lot of times, I'm the one who fills the forms and does all the applications and things like that. It's been like that. We had a discussion recently. I said my husband should go do something, and my husband was like, babe, we've been married how many years? You've always done this thing. Why do you want me to be the one to do it this time? You do it better than me. Just do it. Like, yes, not like the conversation went 100% like, oh, we're just laughing with each other. No. But then I realized that no big deal. It's not a deal breaker. It's not an issue. Okay.
Yeah.
Right? So I think we should agree that there is nobody stamped anything on anybody's head, and anybody can pick up the slack. Anybody can do anything in the home. If we all have that mentality, it's going to be really helpful.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I think one thing that you guys have mentioned so far is, well, I shouldn't say guys, it's not gender inclusive.
It's okay.
Thank you.
Oh God, something that you guys have mentioned that is resonating with me is the fact that you need to be empathetic towards your partner. My husband, for example, when I had when we had the baby and everything, when he hears me sigh, he just knows that let me go and take that baby from her, and like, let me leave whatever work I'm doing, take the baby and get her to rest. You don't have to complain or say stuff before you actually just, take the initiative to be there. Because somebody mentioned like the word babysitting. There's nothing like babysitting when it's you that is taking care of your child.
Baby what?
Babysitting. Like between husband and wife. A babysitter is someone that you pay.
Yeah, that's somebody that.
There's no such word as babysitting. You're both nurturing the growth of that child.
Absolutely.
Exactly. Exactly.
I don't think it is in his house without me feeding our baby for a start.
Exactly. And so, like, even with us too, like, I take care of her at night. He takes care of her during the day. Like, it's just a partnership. It has to be balanced, because when you start noticing that your partner is getting burnt out and you don't do anything about it, it's going to lead to resentment.
Absolutely.
And that resentment will just be breeding. Some people know how to bottle things up. One day it will just explode.
Which is why you need to have that open, honest communication often. Knowing that, not in a fighting manner, but having those communications. They might be hard sometimes, like, you know what? At this point, I need to let you know this is not working. Something is wrong here. And also being willing to listen to your partner, knowing that at any point in time, when my partner is saying, I know, like, usually when we hear, like, if we are hearing something negative, naturally, the natural instinct is not to agree with it. But, just having that idea that, okay, at any point, either of us can say, this is not working, we need to do something, stop, we need to reappraise, we need to reassess, and then do something about it. So always having that open, honest conversation. Your spouse is not a mind reader. It is very important. I used to think that my husband he should be able to figure it out. No, sorry, you're not the same people. What you're experiencing, what you're feeling, your spouse might feel like, okay, maybe this person is feeling something, but maybe he doesn't even know how you're feeling or what you're feeling, right? So we need to speak up. Men speak up, women speak up. If it's not working for you, or if something is not going down right, don't wait until it becomes a huge wound that you now need to pay therapists for. Therapy is expensive, guys.
One thing that I wanted to go back to that Caleb mentioned was, when you were giving the example about the fact that you don't like to assemble stuff, and she does, and there's some things that will take time to learn. Me, I personally think that everything is teachable.
Yeah.
Because I lived in Canada as a single woman for 4 years, I know how to assemble furniture. And right now, I don't wait for my husband. When they tell you, I've mentioned this in one of my videos, when they tell you $40 per hour, and they will make sure they spend that time assembling that furniture, spend 3 hours for something that you can assemble in 1 hour. By the time you do the calculation, you will know, especially when you're by yourself. So for me, the fact that I lived here alone, I don't shovel snow tire for driveway. I don't, like, everything that I've had to do by myself at some point in time. If I cannot do something, I will find somebody that provides that service. I personally feel like anything can be learnt or taught if you put your mind to it. But if that's now something that, your partner doesn't mind. Like, for example, now with me, when I receive new furniture, I love to decorate. When the furniture comes, I must open it that day and assemble it that day.
And maybe your spouse wants to wait 2 days.
And my spouse, he is working, he has his businesses and everything, and it's like, oh yeah, I'll get to it. I'm just like, man, I will just go and carry 2 bucks and do it. I'm not just going to stand there and hound him to do that when it's my priority, but it's not his priority. So I think being able to do some of these things is very important, and just being able to choose your battles too. Like, there's choose your battles. It's not everything that should become so big that I feel like people underestimate the pressure that people face in the diaspora without that support. In Nigeria, when you buy furniture, carpenter will deliver it to your house whole, or even come and knock it together.
They are handymen in Canada.
There are people around that you can pay to do things for you. Here, you're working 2 jobs, 3 jobs sometimes just to be able to make a living. And then the pressure is on. You still have your family unit. Some people still have 2, 3 kids in this Canada. It's not easy. So being able to understand and respect the fact that, men, we're actually both going through this process together. Like, this is new terrain for both of us. This is, or however many of you are in that relationship. But this is new terrain.
I want to assume that this conversation is about one man, one woman, or whatever. Or like,
we have to be inclusive of polyamory and
say please.
So yeah, Yamsi, did you have something you wanted to say?
No, I was just going to reiterate that mostly it's about partnership. That's the
Yeah,
mentality everybody needs to carry when they compare.
yeah,
There's no this is for you to do, this is for me to do.
no,
Each person has to bring something to the table, and you have to assist in every way, emotionally, financially. Of course, people make those decisions that, hey, I have 4 jobs, I'm earning close to 300K, you don't need to work, just take care of the baby and all that stuff. It doesn't mean the person who is not working now should be the house help or maid
no.
in the house, domestic staff, and get things done and sorted. So for most part of it, just be there for each other. And Tolu said something which I find very, 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 very important. Uh, Communicate. Always talk. I'd mentioned it earlier that sometimes the woman think you have that magic one in your head to know what they're thinking. No, nobody. You don't know it. Like, and sometimes you're probably thinking about, I won't say more important things, but you're thinking about bigger issues in your head, and your mindset is not going to that thing they're thinking at that point in time. But just say it, and you'd be fine. And again, every form of ego, like, drop it. Just drop it.
Absolutely.
Because
Very
no,
important.
humility is key. Just bring yourself down to
Mhm.
get things done. Sacrifice to get things done. Don't think, oh, I didn't used to do this when we're in Nigeria. Why am I doing this now? Then, right now, we don't have any grandparents to
Go
come.
and do it.
Yes.
You
We're
have
still
to.
talking the other day, like, for the past 1.5 years plus now, since the cinemas opened again. Something we used to do every Friday back home in Lagos, where we just go and dump the kids or the child at, and the help itself with the grandparents. Nothing like that here. So there's no place to actually drop those kids. But you just have to, like, find that time to get things done. You get, and again, build relationships within your community. It is
I
key.
was just going to say that.
Like,
Like,
have friends you can call to say, help me with this child for 2 hours, for 3 hours. I mean, make sure that you have people that in your corner, basically, that
yeah,
will always be there for you. I mean, me, for instance, I experienced this when we had our baby in September. I was actually in tears on the naming ceremony because the support we got was quite overwhelming. Like, people were there to get things done for you, things that would probably have been paid for your father or brothers, or this thing would have sorted back home when you were in Nigeria. I mean, it was really touching to see that, like, that community is there for you. So invest time in building those relationships outside your
Yeah,
absolutely.
home.
that's really important.
Yeah,
So,
I'm gonna actually retrace that because one of the things I wanted to say is yes, we did say we like we said, right, you left your support system back home and everything, but you need to actively build a community. It's very, 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 very important. Like you have to. 2 years, I think it was 2 years ago, something really traumatic happened to me. My husband was away. I was alone with the children. It was really bad. I was practically losing my mind. And the people who helped me, who stood by me, were friends that we had made. Friends who said, Do you want me to come and take the kids? Okay, I'm gonna do your grocery run. I know you need time to recover and things like that. So it's very important. You cannot underestimate it. The few times that my husband and I have actually been able to do something for ourselves here, it's because we had friends who took our kids. On our anniversary last year, we just went. It wasn't a day trip. We didn't even stay away overnight, but the whole day we just had friends who said we said, "Oh, can you pick the kids up from school? Fantastic. They'll stay with you until we come back." So you need to actively. I said it at the beginning that everything is going to, like, you have to fight for your time. You have to fight for that time that you spend together because a lot of people are living together right now, and the only thing that's keeping them together, or the thread that's keeping their relationship, is the kids they're taking care of. It's the fact, and all of their conversation is probably what do we need to do for A and what do we need to do for B, right? You need to find that time. Find 2 hours. Pay a babysitter for 2 hours and go to the movies. It's not going to kill you. It's investment in your relationship. Even if you can't find a friend, drop your babies with a babysitter who come recommended. Do your research. Pay 50 bucks and just go away together for 1 hour. Just even if it's all you do is go sit in the car to have conversation, adult conversation that does not involve the baby needs a diaper change. We need to do a bottle, or do you know what this child scored in their grade today, or what activity is our child going for tomorrow? And that's another thing. We have too many activities. We need to cut them down. Sorry, guys, I told you I can speak about this the whole
No,
day.
it's true. Please, please.
Guilty as charged.
Too many things. Monday is booked, Tuesday is booked, Wednesday is booked, Thursday is booked, Friday is booked, Saturday even, and Sunday. When do you get family time? When do you get the us time? When do you get that time? I told people, for my children, I limit the activities. They choose only two. The maximum activities my children can do in a week outside the home is 2. No matter how much they're begging me, they cannot do more than 2 outside the home in a week. Because guess what? I'm their parent. I need to parent them. And I don't want teachers parenting my children. I want to be the first voice that they are hearing after teachers, because I don't know what they've told them. I need to know what they are learning. If I'm not spending that time with them, how do I know? That's parenting, by the way. So we're not talking parenting right now. Now, with my spouse, how do I get that time? I know 50 bucks is plenty, but it's an investment in your relationship. I understand. 50 bucks in a month, unless you're not working.
It's not bad. 50 bucks.
It's not bad. You can save it up.
I mean, a bottle of
as long as they're not converting to naira.
Don't convert to naira.
Why are you converting to naira?
Don't convert to naira. And maybe for gold, I don't know if you are buying Tim Hortons or whatever.
No, this person buys Bitcoin apparently. I mean, all the time.
But even if the person is buying Bitcoin, again, like I said, it's an investment in your relationship. Unless your relationship is not important to you, if your marriage is important to you, take that time. You just find out that you're growing apart. Each person is doing different things, learning different things. You're talking to work colleagues, you're talking to your friends online, and you're not talking to each other. You're not talking to each other. So it's really, really, really important to make that time. Even if it's once a month, or start with once in 2 months. Just know this time, if all you do is go to sit in your car, just, that time, okay, what's going on here? How are you doing? How are we doing? What are you experiencing? Jamesy, everything okay?
He's feeling the flow, feeling the vibes.
In the car, I started thinking of very.
Hey, MC. This is a family show. Okay. So wait, please. Somebody is asking about concerns regarding making friends in the diaspora. What has been one thing that helped you with making friends? I'll start with Caleb because you've been too quiet.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I fit into that description, right? When I meet people face to face, I don't easily warm up to them. So I prefer virtual conversations, WhatsApp groups. Most of the friends I have in this place, I've met them on WhatsApp groups. And if we have thrown banter back and forth, I find it easy to approach you when I see you in person. Like a lot of the people I'm in the same WhatsApp group with Faye, and when I finally see her in face,
So why are you laughing? Sorry, Caleb.
No, I'm laughing because you remember he said he met his wife on social media. So
yeah.
Caleb, sorry, please.
So there are a lot of things I say on WhatsApp that I would never say it in person. Like,
yeah, keyboard warriors.
Yeah, so even if you find it difficult to make friends, right? Like Andre was asking, I'm sure you are not shy to type on WhatsApp to express whatever you feel on Telegram or WhatsApp. So yeah, start from WhatsApp, start from Telegram, start from Faye Mark's YouTube channel. find someone you can, oh, hello, are you in the same province as I am? How are you feeling? How is the weather? This and that. So it's just starting conversations little by little. Yeah.
Yes, and that's a good point that you made, because even just before the live, I was seeing people in the comment section of one of my videos going back and forth about, I like it when people are in the comments identifying each other. Oh, we're going to the same school. When are you resuming? I'm resuming then. Like, it's just nice. And then from there, you're able to build relationships. That's just how it is. Yemzi.
Correct. Ola, I'll just saying thumbs up. And again, it's a function of what do you want to do? Do you want to do it? If you want to do it, you get it done. For instance, when we came in, I play football, and the first thing I told my brother was I was going to get myself a
It's
soccer
soccer,
boot.
isn't it?
Yes, it's soccer. I get myself a soccer boot and start finding communities that play football. And from there, I've made tons of I've had tons of relationships now. Like people, like I can always reach out to say, "Hey, come and pick me at home," or "Let's go and hang out somewhere." And you would always form those relationships. It's what interests you. What interests you? Is it parties? Do you like going to parties? Find every naming ceremony. Find every wedding that this thing.
So, Yemzi, I would kind of disagree with that. Some of us don't really like going out. Look,
That's why I say what interests you. What is
I,
your interest? If it is a book club, find it on Twitter. There are book clubs on
yeah,
Twitter.
well, you're right.
Anything that interests you, there are always channels to get it done.
I think it's just actively knowing that this is what I want to do and maybe set out to it. Some people make friends easier than others. That I don't take for granted. Some of us find it easier to say hi to everybody, but we don't build those close friendships. I think I'm one of those people. Like everybody thinks, oh, I'm an extrovert and I have a lot of friends, but honestly, trust me, maybe 5% of the people who know me know what is really going on in my life or really know about me or know
story of my life.
Yeah. So why everybody thinks, oh, you're on social media. I know you're on social media. You're very active. I follow you on Instagram and everything. And I'm thinking the fact that you see me on Instagram all the time, even maybe dancing or talking or everything, doesn't mean that you know me or doesn't even mean that we're friends. But it's very important. And since you know that it's important for you to make those friendships, there are things like you said, like Yemi said, things that you do in common. Maybe it's church. If you go to church, honestly, if you're a Christian, one of the good things you can do for yourself is to find a good church and just plug in.
Yeah.
Church is one of the
I'll just jump in there for a second because Caleb has to drop off.
Oh, okay.
But thank you so much, Caleb, for joining us today. It was a great conversation. The rest of us can stay back and just answer the rest of the questions.
Okay.
But yeah, thank you, Caleb.
Bye, Caleb.
Bye, Caleb.
Thanks for having me.
Bye. Thank
Hope
you.
to see you online.
Okay, so this question, I want us to actually address it. How easy was it for you all to blend different cultural beliefs?
Is that from the perspective of people coming from different cultural
I think it's from the perspective of moving from their home country to Canada, where it's a culture shock. It can be a culture shock for any couple. So I guess Nigerian traditional culture, as for marriage versus moving to Canada, and everything is different.
First off, I would answer that question. Well, let me quickly acknowledge Marina Siri. I've enjoyed her contribution, or his contribution. The girl, it's a woman, and like all true. Thank you, Marina, for all your comments. I like them. To answer your question, I would say an open mind. An open mind being that you would find a whole lot of things different from where you're coming from. I may not be able to give any examples right now, but the most common one is African food. We always want to eat our own food. I've heard people say, oh, they've never had poutine since they came. They've never had kale since they came. I mean, I've become more of a vegetarian since I got here. Not more of a vegetarian, like I've eaten more vegetables since I got here than I've probably eaten all my lives. Because most of the restaurants you go to with your coworkers, it is what they're ordering is chicken and vegetables. And some of them you would look at the menu and you would not recognize what it is. You have to be open-minded to ask questions to say, what is this? what is the combination of this? Because typically, oh, of course, you probably used to go to restaurants in Lagos, you see mashed potatoes, you see steak, and you know that this is what I'm buying. But these ones, they give it all sort of names, and you don't understand what it is. So you have to have that open mind to say, hey guys, this is what it is.
Absolutely.
Like I'm open to testing this. And I'll give an example. I went to Vancouver with my colleagues one time like that, and everything they threw at me, that was the first time I had oysters. I'm allergic to seafood, right? Like I can't breathe when I eat shrimps. But that very day, like, oh, why not? Worst case scenario, I'll
How
find
do
it.
you kill yourself?
Yeah,
Ha.
you get, and it was nice. You get, and again, if I have to, again, I'll take it now. So just be open minded. That's all I'll say.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
agree. But that straight bullet about poutine and kill, haba now, haba.
No, seriously, like I know people who maybe I don't know people. Don't let me say I know people, so that nobody will think I'm shading them. But you brought your kids to Canada. They're in an environment where all their friends are eating burgers at school, sandwich. Sorry, I mistakenly muted my microphone. So all their friends are eating like different things, and then you insist on giving your kids only. I don't want to shade, so I'm not gonna say it. But why you guys laughing? But you have to be open-minded. Maybe also because of like, I've always been. My husband used to joke that when we lived in Nigeria, that babe, your body is only in Nigeria. You live abroad, like your everything that you do, because I've always wanted my children to experience life, not just be local champions, not just be we're Nigerians and that's who we are and that's all we eat. No, in my house, when I say to people that we only eat rice once a week, they think I'm crazy. Like, how do you do it? What do you eat? Food, all sorts. There's so many things that you can eat, right? So, and not just food, everything, experiences. My children, I'm not going to learn to skate because I'm in my 40s and I don't want to break something. But my children skate. I go to Bog Lane with them. We will wear our winter gear and go out there because it's where we are now. That's why we relocated, right? To have the experience.
Yeah.
I can't be living abroad and living like I can't be living in Canada and bring all of Nigeria with me and all I'm doing is Nigeria. Come on, experience life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Experience life, but
So many
Putin is not for everybody, Sha.
so try it once. If it's not for you, you don't have to continue eating it. But
Yeah.
conversation like Putin is the Canadian food, right? Like
Yeah.
how it was, and
Yeah.
there's
So
many questions. I can't see the questions, but I only see them popping up.
okay, Olive is asking for advice for singles that are relocating.
Yo, there's so many comments. I didn't even like I didn't see them.
Yeah.
Okay, so
I think that for singles, because I relocated as a single woman. By single I mean not married. If you're not married, you're single, in my opinion. But I'm assuming that's what you mean, and I think that you should just be open. Just move, be open. As a single lady, I moved about 4 times, different cities, different provinces. Wherever the job comes.
If you want to marry somebody from Filipino, don't think your spouse has to be Nigerian.
at all.
Yeah, be open to trying dating
Let
apps.
your dating bucket be very, very big. Like
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
you never know. Whatever it is that work for you at the end of the day.
And be open to long distance, in my opinion. Like, it's not easy, but if that's where you're finding your person, be open to that. Like, I was one of those people that said I would never ever do long distance, blah, 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 blah. What it sure happened at the end of the day. And it worked out, right? So just be open. As a single person, I feel like that's the time that you have to do whatever. You can decide in a week, oh, I want to move to this province. There are job opportunities there. Move there. You will get a job. Like, it's so much harder to do these things and be this flexible when you have a family. So if you're just by yourself, my number one advice to you is be flexible, be open.
Yeah. So someone said in the comments, and I just want to respond, like, you don't understand gender roles. So don't take me verbatim or literally when I say things like I don't understand. It's just like I don't get it anymore. Like, or like I have never gotten it, or like that's not how we do. Maybe that's what I mean. Like, um, we've never, yes, there are some things that I kind of expect my husband to do, some things that my husband expects me to do, but it's okay for us. And
Yeah.
so things like shoveling snow, I've done it before, but I'm not gonna do it when Mr. A is here. Whenever Mr. A is around, I
And
don't, and I'm like,
if
you're
you're the
Me,
one
stronger.
I'm
that
with you on that.
I'm like, babe, you're stronger than me. You can do this. The only
right,
time
I'll do it if I have to,
where
but
I'll do it like my husband travels a lot, and one time he was away, and of course I had to shovel. And trust me, guys, I had a bad back for like 1 month after. I actually
I
had
do
to
this
see a doctor.
twice a day sometimes.
So sometimes when there's snow, and I'm like, babe, you know that one time when I snowed, I had to shovel snow. I had to go to the hospital. You know, does that mean that if my husband is not able to do it at the time, I'm not going to do it? No. But what I'm saying when I say I don't understand gender roles is I don't see the point of us saying this is the job for a woman and this is a job
yeah.
for a man. And I hope that that clarifies that point for
Yeah.
Great.
We're just saying that it should be based on capability, capacity, and all of that, and not like, oh, because you're a man, you do this, because you're a woman, you do that. Like I said, for furniture in my house, I just don't have the time to wait because I'm too excited. I will carry the toolbox, the drill, and everything and put things together. That's just, so it's not a matter of, oh, this is for men, this is for women. Like, we just don't go by that. That's
Quick one that I also see in the comments. So I'm just going through the comments right
yeah,
now.
no
I've
problem.
noticed them before. And so someone said I'm not lucky at all with friendship, full of jealousy and selfishness. Some are just users. So this is what I'm going to say. Where are you meeting your friends? And where are you making your friends? And what are you also giving in your friendships? I'm not saying that you're wrong, and I'm not saying you've not had bad experiences. And it's okay to guard your heart. It's okay to be careful when you're making friends. So maybe you don't let your guard down like instantly or even immediately. But find um, find a good community where you know that. So a lot of things I say, I know that church people can also be shady. There are shady people everywhere. But put yourself put yourself out as a
EMC.
yes, there was a good one. So
I,
I said,
I apologize. I distracted. I don't like the comments. Yeah, it's very hilarious.
so just maybe if you've had any bad experiences, try to erase those experiences. Try and have an open mind and kind of try to seek out people who have the same values as you. I have been blessed with good friends, amazing friends. I have a friend that someone asked me, did you guys know each other before you came to Canada? I'm like, no, we met in Canada. In fact, somebody we met on a WhatsApp group. So be open, and even if you've had bad friendships in the past or friendships that didn't work out, it doesn't mean that you're not going to meet good people.
Exactly. There will always be people that are just out there to use you or like have one-sided friendship, like what they can take from you. There will always be those kind of people. And especially in Canada, because they're just trying to hustle and find their way and do, so when you meet those kind of people that you feel like are just users, I've had my fair share and I just saw it as, oh, God used me to touch this person's life and I've moved on.
Every relationship that will yield result for you.
Exactly. It doesn't have to be like a full-blown friendship and all of that, because there are different kinds of people in this world. Some people are not okay, So you have to just be able to just free, right? When you do something for someone, you don't have to expect anything back. You did something, you did your own for God. And your effect is showing in that person's life. Exactly. And that's amazing. You just have to move on, and don't prejudge other people based on those experiences, because at the end of the day, you fulfilled your purpose in that person's life, and that's it, right? Yemzi, did you have something?
BTC boy said, "Let's talk about why Nigerian ladies here ignore we guys." And I was going to say it's because you've shown them shiggy in the past.
For couples who are already struggling, what support communities can help them? How can we do better as a people to really help them? So for I think that younger people need to be open to learning and find people who, so maybe let's say, how do we support? So sometimes you don't want to say anything because maybe I see a younger couple, for instance, and I feel like, oh, I have one or two things I can say to them or that I can teach them. I'm not sure if they're going to be open to it, right? So I don't know if I should share with them. I don't know if my help is going to be appreciated or not. So maybe we need to seek out people or actively seek out people who can, um, that it still brings me back to that community thing. So you see family that is doing well. Even if you're struggling and maybe your marriage is younger, your marriage might not even be younger than theirs. What are they doing? How are they keeping it together? That I have your back, you have my back kind of thing. And how I've had opportunities to speak to people in this Canada to say, look, are you a little bit? Sorry, I had to say that in Yoruba. Like, it's not such a big
deal. The word to your chest.
Don't like type the word to your chest, like it's not that big of a deal when you think about it. When you said something earlier, choose your battles. Some things are too, they're not worth it to put your family in jeopardy. So things like he's not making the bed, he's putting his toothbrush in the wrong place, she's doing some things are just, don't let little things bother you or make your relationship a big deal. Now, so when people are already struggling, there are you can seek out a therapist. That is huge. Therapy is a thing and it's a real thing. There's couples therapy. Go for it.
And you don't even have to be struggling to seek out therapy because
struggling.
Yeah.
Then there's churches. I'm a Christian. That's why I keep saying there's churches. There are people who don't go to church, and I'm sorry if that offends you, but that's what I know. Church. Churches usually have like counseling and stuff like that. So you can also use that avenue. And how do we do better as a people to help them? Let's talk about good marriages. Because it's so rosy. It's so like once somebody starts to say, I have a good marriage, people look at it like, not everything that glitters is gold. They all just want us to see what they want us to
online see. People.
And we are so quick to judge people who tell us that they are happy. I am married. I have been married 16 years and I am happy. Am I saying we're perfect? No. Am I saying we're happy 100% of the time? No. But
yeah, happy.
My husband is my friend. He's my guy. So take everything else away. And he's not an online person. He's not really much of a social media person, unfortunately. When I put his face on my page, in fact, one day he came back and he said, every time someone new that I don't know says hello to me outside, I know it's you're doing. Like, they know me from somewhere. And I'm like, it's that girl. She puts me on there, Oh my God, my phone is ringing on my computer. I have to decline. Sorry, guys. You probably heard it.
Yeah, no problem.
So, what was I saying? That call.
That's okay. So I know that I've held you guys for so long, 1 hour 30 minutes. But if you had to say like one final thing, I think we've gone through all the questions. Yeah. If you had to advise a couple coming from Nigeria, are there things that they can do pre-arrival?
Pre-arrival.
To set the stage for, a successful relocation, successful marriage in whatever country they move to?
When you said it's successful relocation, I was going to say they should pack their bags. That's a joke. Successful relationship. Sorry, Yemzi, I'm gonna go first. I just saw the time and I'm like, I actually
Thank
need
you,
to go.
Brad.
My kids have
Yeah.
to pack up too. So for a successful relationship, the first thing is you need to know that you're in this together and that it's a partnership. We're going to this together. Look, when we were coming to Canada, I knew that my husband was going to be traveling a lot. We both knew. We didn't know how it was going to work out. And I was a little bit about it. But we both had an open mind and we said, we're going to do this for 1 year. After 1 year, we're going to sit down and reappraise and then decide if it's working and then map out our next step forward. Were there very tough days? Oh, yes, there were. But we both knew. We had, so have those conversations, those difficult conversations. What are we going to do with our kids? And research, do a lot of research. That is very, very important. Be armed with information. Know things that are available in the city that you're going to, you know? So do your research, talk to each other, like have those conversations. You can't, of course, if you're not living it, you won't know it yet. So you will not know 100%. But there were so many things that being just doing my research prepared me for, even before I came to Canada. So don't just come. That's why you have the internet. It's an amazing place because you find a lot of things there. So in my area, what is available, what kind of groups are there, how are our children going to school, what kind of activities are available. Do your research and talk, and just know that you're in it together. You're going to just promise yourselves that you're going to support each other and you're just going to be there for each other.
Yeah.
Until you are living it, you don't know exactly what it is. But just know that whatever storms are coming or whatever is going to happen, we're going to be there for each other and we're just going to make it work. I think that's the important thing, knowing that between the two of you, you're going to be willing to give whatever you need to give to make your marriage work.
Thanks, Tools. Thank you so much. Yemzi, do you have anything to add to that?
Final word. Whatever the word planning means to you, use it. Plan. That's
Yeah.
all.
I agree. And I think we've now come to the end of this session. Oh my God, this has to be one of my longest live sessions. Wow. Thank you so much. You guys, time is money. I have done.
Me here.
Time is money. So you guys have to really, really appreciate the time that Tools and Yemzi have, taken out of their day to, like we said, every time you have outside work and stuff, you want to rest and everything. So for you to even come and grace this channel with your presence and wisdom, thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah, you guys, if you have any other questions, drop them in the comment section below. We'll continue the conversation over there. And thank you for joining. All right.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.